General Abdusalami Abubakar, the golden man of the Fourth Republic, he was the one that took over from Abacha and handed over to elected Olusegun Obasanjo in 1999. He granted an exclusive interview to some newspapers. Highlight of that interview is the veiled threat. Well, maybe he's not threatening Tinubu directly, but when he was asked what causes military coups in West Africa and Nigeria, for example, why military men become so dissatisfied with the situation in their different countries to the extent that it pushes them to take over power from politicians, he had this to say, quote, "It must be the political field that allows any military man to take over. When you are in government and there is no equity and justice, certainly this brings problem. You have a political party, and even in the political party one belongs to, there is no democracy. So certainly you will expect some quivers, some quarrels to come out, and if they are not handled amicably, certainly this will result to military takeover. Remember, there is no military man that takes over without the connivance and assistance of politicians and civilians," unquote. Well, this is not far from the truth. Abdusalami Abubakar is a general. He knows how they work in the military. In fact, he made this kind of statement when he visited Niger Republic at the time the military took over power from the then president, Bazoum. He made that statement and said that it is politicians that invoke military men to take over power, that if they are delivering good governance, no one will think of taking over power. In fact, a military coup wouldn't be popular in an atmosphere of good governance. If the people in power got their priorities right, there wouldn't be any problems. Even in the military today, look at what is happening. They are saying that they haven't been paid their allowances. These are boys in the front line defending this country. Whereas politicians are earning millions of naira every month as salaries. What's the salary of a senator or House of Rep member? This is the problem. There is no equity and justice in the system. People that their jobs are more risky, earn nothing, practically nothing. How much does a soldier earn in Nigeria? About 50 or 60,000 naira per month. He has to risk his life for his country. While people who sit in offices with their pen, they steal everything with just that pen without lifting a finger. And nothing happens, no justice, no one holds them accountable. In fact, they will use that money they stole to contest for the next election and still win and continue the stealing. So there's no justice in the system. We're not even talking about the good governance proper. They will pass a budget and that project will not even be executed. You see, the problem we have in Africa is that many corrupt politicians are crude profligates. They don't understand anything about governance. It's not as if there is no corruption elsewhere around the world. Yes, there is corruption. Even in China, you see them executing people every day, corrupt politicians. Even in Europe, America, there is corruption everywhere. But in Africa, they've taken it to a whole new level. The cause is that they prioritize their own interest instead of prioritizing national interest. Look at Nigeria of the 70s and early 80s. It wasn't as if there wasn't corruption at the time, but people didn't notice it simply because life was easy. Imagine being a graduate at the time. You graduate from school, there are up to 3 job offers waiting for you. You have to choose one. Within a few months of starting the job, you can buy a new car, live large as you want, go to nightclubs. In the 70s, many middle-class Nigerians used to go to nightclubs in Europe. Yes, at the time, Nigerians didn't require visas to visit many countries. All it took was board your flight on Friday, arrive London or Paris in the evening, and attend the club that you want to attend. The next day on Saturday morning, you go to shopping and shop whatever you want. Sunday morning, you are back to Lagos. It was as simple as that. It wasn't as if Nigerians didn't know there was corruption at the time. After all, Fela had started singing about corruption, the Abiola ITT, 2.4 billion naira, many things. But the fact that people were still well off, the naira had serious value. You go to the market with just 10 naira. 10 naira used to be huge. When you go for grocery shopping, you could buy a wheelbarrow with just 10 naira. You could fill it up. How much was Gary of 1 naira at the time? So this is the issue. The politicians don't understand governance. They are stealing all the money. No money is left for development. No money is left for anything. How can a politician become a governor or president and spend 8 years in power and he will not improve any macroeconomic variable? That's absurd. It doesn't happen elsewhere, especially in Western countries. It's only in Africa you see incompetent people that will not improve the system, especially improve it higher than they met it, but they will insist on staying in power over and over. They will extend their tenures, do all sorts of things to sustain their lifestyles, and that's why there is a problem in Africa. And the people tolerate it, because this can't be tolerated in a company. Imagine a bank hiring an MD, and the MD kept making losses instead of growing the bank. Will the shareholders allow the MD to continue in office? Simply no. So why do people tolerate politicians who play with their lives and future? They take loans into their future. The next generation will pay some of the loans they have taken. And people tolerate it. They say, let him just finish his tenure and leave. Let another one come. We are here, we are waiting and looking. No one will help you. So Abdusalami Abubakar is right. All these injustices and lack of equity is what provokes military takeovers in Africa, not just in Nigeria or any other place. We might be thinking, the time has passed. After all, this is the longest time in Nigeria's history we've enjoyed democracy for straight 25 years. But you might never know what will happen, because the hardship people are facing right now is unprecedented. People have never seen this kind of hardship before. And you expect that politicians should know that you don't have to play with people who you know they have the power to remove you from office, especially not paying soldiers their salaries. Not that they didn't work. They worked, they put in the service, they were in the front lines defending the country, and you refuse to pay them. It's very surprising that they are taking such a risk. Even if it's not the direct responsibility of the politicians, maybe it's the army HQ or the administration that is still working out how to pay them, but all salaries, not just salaries of soldiers, everyone that has put in effort and worked must receive his salary on time. All these hardship people are facing, you expect them to get money from where to solve their problems? It's not easy out there. A few months ago, one soldier was saying that he spent many months in the front lines and decided to go back to his family. But he couldn't do it because when he went to take transport, they told him the cost of transportation, which was more than his salary at the time. He looked at everything and said, there's no need going back because I won't be able to come back to the front lines. Even if he's not coming back to the front lines, how is he going to pay with his entire salary just to go and visit his family? And it was unfortunate that the military high command put him in the guard room. They locked him up because of that release. So they are not helping matters. All this kind of attitude will prevent people from joining the military in the future. Right now, many people that join the military is because of economic reasons. It's simple as that. It's not because of patriotism and love for country. Nigerians see all this, how they treat their own personnel. Who is going to join a military force that the salary he will earn will not be enough for him to go back and see his family? It's not realistic. So it's not just the politicians that are the problem, although they play a huge part, because they are the ones in charge. They are supposed to supervise all the people they appointed. After all, the military high command were appointed by the politicians. They should be playing their supervisory roles to make sure that people that are in the front lines, and every other soldier for that matter, must receive their salaries on time. There's no excuse whatsoever. After all, the money was released by the ministry. It's not as if the money is not there. What is preventing them from paying the soldiers their money? So not just the attitude of the politicians and every other thing, they can still mutiny or revolt against the high command, which is tantamount to coup. Anyway, whether this is a veiled threat to the people in power, the most important message here is that all actions have consequences. Thanks for watching.